Imagine this. It's the middle of the Great Depression. The economy is collapsing. Banks are failing. Millions of people are losing their jobs. And yet, in the middle of all this chaos, one man is quietly writing a book that will go on to create more millionaires than almost any other book in history. His name? Napoleon Hill. The book? Think and Grow Rich. Now, here's the interesting part. This wasn't some random self-help book with generic advice like, believe in yourself, or work hard. No. Hill spent over 20 years studying more than 500 of the most successful people in the world at the time, including Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, Alexander Graham Bell, and more. He wanted to find out what separates those who achieve massive wealth and success from those who just don't. And after 2 decades of research, interviews, and observation, he boiled it all down into a set of principles, a mindset that, if followed, could transform an ordinary person into a millionaire. But here's the thing. These principles were written almost a century ago. The world has changed a lot since then, right? We've got smartphones, social media, AI, crypto, online businesses, you name it. So the real question is, do these principles still work today? Well, yes. In fact, they might be more powerful than ever. Because while technology changes, human psychology hasn't changed at all. And the same mental patterns that created wealth back in 1937 are still creating wealth now, only faster. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why 2 people can start at the exact same point in life? Same education, same skills, same opportunities, but 10 years later, one is thriving while the other is still struggling paycheck to paycheck? It's not just about luck. It's not just about working harder. It's about thinking differently. Napoleon Hill called it the millionaire mindset. And no, it's not some magic formula where you close your eyes, think about money, and it just appears. That's wishful thinking. Hill was talking about a practical system, habits, beliefs, and strategies that program your brain to see opportunities, take action, and persist until you win. When Think and Grow Rich came out, it wasn't just another motivational read. It was a manual for creating wealth, and people started using it, with real results. For example, W. Clement Stone, a businessman who started selling insurance door-to-door, read Hill's work and built a company worth hundreds of millions. Mary Kay Ash, founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics, applied these principles to build one of the most successful direct sales companies in the world. Even modern entrepreneurs, like Damon John from Shark Tank, have credited Hill's ideas as foundational to their success. These aren't just historical anecdotes. I'll also show you examples of people today, in our world, who've applied the same principles in business, entertainment, and even sports, and won big. But before we dive into the 5 key principles we'll talk about today, I want to give you a little challenge. It's simple. As you watch this video, I want you to imagine applying each of these ideas in your own life. Not in some vague, "Yeah, that's nice," kind of way, but literally picture yourself making decisions differently starting tomorrow morning. Because here's the truth. Most people will listen, nod, and then do nothing. They'll go right back to their routine. And that's exactly why 97% of people never achieve real financial freedom. The people who win, the ones who actually build wealth, are the ones who take a concept, test it, live it, and keep going even when it's not easy. Now let me be honest. This isn't a get rich quick video. Napoleon Hill never promised instant results. In fact, he warned that it takes time, effort, and persistence. But he also said something that changed my perspective forever. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Read that again. Conceive, meaning you have to imagine it clearly. Believe, meaning you have to truly feel it's possible for you. Achieve, meaning you take action until it becomes reality. That's the millionaire mindset in one sentence. I'm going to walk you through each of these 5 principles, not just what Napoleon Hill wrote, but how they fit into our modern world. We'll break them down into practical steps. We'll look at real people, from entrepreneurs to artists to athletes, who've used them to go from zero to multi-million-dollar success. By the time we're done, you'll see why Think and Grow Rich is still one of the most important books you could ever read, and why it's not just about growing rich in money, but also in opportunities, relationships, and personal fulfillment. Principle number 1. Burning desire. Napoleon Hill opens Think and Grow Rich with what he calls the starting point of all achievement, and he doesn't mince words about it. He says, "The starting point of all achievement is desire. Keep this constantly in mind. Weak desire brings weak results, just as a small fire makes a small amount of heat." Sounds simple, right? You have to want it. But here's where most people get it wrong. There's a massive difference between wanting something and having a burning desire for it. Think about it. Most people want more money. Most people want to be in great shape. Most people want to travel, or have more freedom, or run their own business. But wanting isn't enough. Wanting means, "It would be nice if it happened." A burning desire means, "I am going to make this happen, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets." That's the difference between people who make their goals reality and people who let them drift away year after year. Hill's favorite example of burning desire comes from Edwin C. Barnes. Barnes wasn't wealthy, didn't have connections, and didn't have an education that stood out. But he had one clear, all-consuming dream. He wanted to work with Thomas Edison, the famous inventor. Now, for most people, that's the kind of dream you'd say out loud at a bar and get laughed at. Barnes didn't care. He didn't say, "I hope one day I get lucky and meet Edison." He said, "I'm going to find a way to work with him." Period. He didn't have the money for a train ticket, but he scraped together enough to ride in a freight car, literally with cargo, all the way to Edison's office. When he got there, he told Edison straight up, "I've come to go into business with you." Edison later said Barnes had the look of someone who wouldn't quit until he got what he came for. Barnes didn't get a partnership right away. He started out doing low-level work. But he worked, learned, and proved himself, until years later, Edison gave him exactly what he wanted, a business opportunity that made Barnes rich. So what's the lesson? A burning desire is not a wish. It's not even a goal written on a piece of paper. It's a decision that your mind accepts as non-negotiable. Why desire comes first? Hill says you can't build persistence, develop faith, or form a mastermind alliance unless you start with desire. Why? Because all those other principles require energy, and desire is the fuel. Without it, the first big obstacle will knock you out of the game. With it, obstacles just become temporary problems you're already expecting to solve. Think about Steve Jobs. When he started Apple in his garage, he wasn't chasing a quick payday. He had a burning desire to put a dent in the universe, to bring computing power to the masses in a beautiful, user-friendly way. That vision pushed him through countless rejections, financial problems, and even being kicked out of the company he founded. That's the power of desire. It keeps you in the fight when logic says to quit. How to create a burning desire. Here's the good news. You don't have to be born with it. Burning desire can be built, and Napoleon Hill gives us a clear 6-step process for doing exactly that. Decide exactly what you want. Not, "I want more money." How much? By when? Be specific. Decide exactly what you'll give in return. Wealth isn't magic. You have to trade something of value: time, skill, service, product, creativity. Set a definite date. Deadlines create urgency and force action. Create a definite plan. Even if it's imperfect, start acting on it immediately. Write a clear statement of steps 1 to 4. Read it aloud twice daily, once in the morning, once before bed. Read it with emotion, as if your goal is already real. That last step may sound old-fashioned, but it's basically self-programming. You're training your mind to lock onto your goal until it starts looking for ways to make it happen. Modern example. Let's bring this to today. Think about Elon Musk again. When he sold PayPal, he could have retired young and spent the rest of his life on a beach. Instead, he poured almost all his money into SpaceX and Tesla, ventures that most people thought would fail spectacularly. Why? Because his burning desire wasn't just be rich. It was make humanity multiplanetary and Accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. Those desires were so big that short-term failures, like multiple rocket explosions and near bankruptcy, didn't stop him. Most people would have quit after the first disaster. He kept going because his desire was stronger than his fear. Applying this today. Here's how you can take this principle and start using it right now. Get brutally specific. If you want financial freedom, define the number you need and the lifestyle it supports. Tie it to emotion. Money itself isn't motivating, but what money gives you is freedom, security for your family, the ability to give back. Review it daily. Put your goal somewhere you can't ignore: phone wallpaper, bathroom mirror, desk. Act immediately. Don't wait for a perfect time to start. Desire grows when you feed it with action. One last thing Hill warns about. Your desire has to be your own. If you're chasing a goal because someone else told you it's what you should want, it will never ignite that inner fire. Burning desire comes from something deeply personal, something that matters to you so much, you're willing to risk failure, embarrassment, and years of effort to get it. Principle number 2, faith and visualization. Napoleon Hill says something in Think and Grow Rich that almost sounds too bold. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence. That's a fancy way of saying your brain will work overtime to make what you believe real. Now, let's be clear. When Hill talks about faith, he's not only talking about religion. He's talking about a deep, unshakable confidence in your goal, the kind of belief that refuses to consider failure as the final outcome. Here's the problem most people face. They start with a big goal, but deep down they doubt they can pull it off. And that doubt shows up in their actions. They move slower, they second-guess themselves, they stop at the first setback. On the flip side, people who believe completely in their goal act differently. They move faster, they take bolder risks, and they recover from failure like it never happened. Faith creates the action that creates results. This isn't just motivational fluff. There's science here. Psychologists call it the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you truly expect something to happen, you unconsciously behave in ways that make it more likely to happen. Think about athletes before a big competition. They don't just practice physically. They visualize every movement, every play, every win. Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps has spoken about running mental movies of his races thousands of times before he even hits the water. By the time he's actually competing, his brain has already lived the victory so many times, it feels natural to win. That's exactly what Hill was talking about, blending faith with visualization. Autosuggestion, Hill's secret weapon. Hill gives us a specific method for building this kind of faith, and it's called autosuggestion. It's basically self-talk with purpose, repeating statements about your goal until your subconscious mind accepts them as truth. He recommends writing your goal down clearly, the amount you want, the date you'll achieve it, what you'll give in return, and then reading it twice a day, once in the morning and once before bed. But here's the catch. You can't just read it like a grocery list. You have to read it with emotion, as if your goal is already real. The emotion is what burns it into your subconscious, where it starts influencing your thoughts, decisions, and habits automatically. Modern example. Let's fast forward to a more recent story. In the early 1990s, actor Jim Carrey was a broke, unknown comedian. But he believed, deeply, that he could become a successful actor. He wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, dated it 5 years in the future, and carried it in his wallet. He visualized that success constantly, what it would feel like, where he would live, the kinds of roles he would play. Fast forward to November 1995, just before the date on the check. He signed a real movie deal for Dumb and Dumber for $10 million. Coincidence? Some will say yes. But ask Jim Carrey, and he'll tell you that faith and visualization kept him going through years of rejection, and put him in the mindset to seize the right opportunities when they came. How to apply faith and visualization today. Here's how you can make this principle work for you. Create a clear goal statement. Write down exactly what you want, the deadline, and what you'll give in return. Read it twice daily with emotion. In the morning to set the tone for your day, and at night so your subconscious works on it while you sleep. Visualize in detail. Don't just imagine being rich. Picture your bank account balance, your home, the conversations you'll have, the way it feels. Act in alignment with your vision. Faith without action is just daydreaming. Use your belief to fuel consistent steps forward. The key warning. Hill also warns, your subconscious doesn't judge whether your beliefs are positive or negative. It accepts whatever you feed it. If you constantly talk about how you'll never make it, or you're just unlucky, you're programming yourself for failure the same way. That's why building faith through positive autosuggestion is so powerful. You're taking control of the messages your brain is receiving. So to sum it up, burning desire gives you the reason. Faith and visualization give you the belief that your reason is possible, and that belief transforms your daily actions. When those actions line up with your vision, the gap between someday and today starts to close fast. Next, we'll dive into principle number 3, specialized knowledge, and why, in today's world, it's not about knowing everything. It's about knowing one thing deeply enough to make you irreplaceable. Principle number 3, specialized knowledge. Napoleon Hill makes a clear distinction in Think and Grow Rich. General knowledge, no matter how great in quantity or variety it may be, is of little use in the accumulation of money. That might sound a little strange. After all, we're told from a young age to learn as much as you can and get a good education. But Hill's point is this: general knowledge is potential power. Specialized knowledge is applied power. The problem with general knowledge. Think about it. You can know a little bit about dozens of topics: history, biology, economics, sports stats, celebrity gossip, and still have no direct way to turn any of that into income. Specialized knowledge is different. It's deep, focused understanding in a specific area, the kind of knowledge that solves a particular problem, creates a specific result, or delivers a valuable skill to others. That's what people will pay for. Henry Ford's example. Hill uses Henry Ford to illustrate this perfectly. Ford was criticized in newspapers for being uneducated because he didn't have extensive general knowledge. One journalist even tried to embarrass him in court by asking a series of trivia questions. Who was Benedict Arnold? How many soldiers did Britain send to America to put down the rebellion of 1776? Ford finally got tired of it and said, "If I really wanted to answer the foolish questions you have just asked me, let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk. By pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire." In other words, Ford didn't need to know everything. He only needed to know how to build cars, and how to hire experts to handle the rest. That's specialized knowledge in action. Why it matters even more today. In 1937, specialized knowledge was already important. Today, it's absolutely critical. Why? Because we live in the information age. General knowledge is everywhere. It's free. It's on Google. It's on YouTube. If someone can Google in 10 seconds what you spent years memorizing, that's not a competitive advantage. What is an advantage is the ability to apply specific skills, insights, or systems in ways that create results other people can't easily replicate. Modern examples. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, didn't know everything about fashion. But she knew hosiery and shapewear better than anyone else, and she knew how to solve a very specific problem for women. That knowledge turned into a billion-dollar brand. Gordon Ramsay isn't just a good cook. His specialized knowledge is creating restaurant concepts, training staff to world-class standards, and producing food experiences people will pay a premium for. Mark Zuckerberg didn't know everything about technology, but he had specialized knowledge about social networks and user engagement, which he turned into Facebook. How to build specialized knowledge. Hill says there are two main ways: personal experience and the experience of others. In other words, you can learn it yourself, or you can borrow it from people who've already mastered it. Here's a roadmap. Identify a niche or problem you want to solve. The narrower and more specific, the better. For example, not just marketing, but Instagram ads for small fitness studios. Immerse yourself in it. Courses, books, mentors, hands-on practice. The fastest way to learn is to apply what you learn immediately. Test and refine. Real-world experience sharpens knowledge far better than theory. You'll find shortcuts, avoid pitfalls, and build your own unique process. Surround yourself with experts. Hill reminds us, you don't need to be the master of every piece of the puzzle. You can borrow specialized knowledge from others through partnerships, hiring, or mastermind groups. Specialized knowledge plus action equals wealth. One of Hill's strongest points here is that specialized knowledge alone isn't enough. Plenty of people have deep expertise, but never get paid well for it. The difference is in the application. When you combine specialized knowledge with a definite plan of action, that's when it becomes a wealth-building tool. For example, a personal trainer who knows human anatomy is valuable. But a personal trainer who specializes in post-injury recovery for athletes and markets that service can charge far more and work with higher-profile clients. A quick self-check. Ask yourself right now, what do I know better than most people? What problems can I solve quickly that others struggle with? Where could I go deeper so my skills become rare and in demand? And if you can't answer those questions clearly, that's a sign you need to choose an area and start building specialized knowledge today. So, here's the takeaway. Burning desire gives you the motivation. Faith gives you the confidence. Specialized knowledge gives you the tools. With those three in place, you're equipped to create it. Principle number 4. Mastermind Alliance. Napoleon Hill calls the Mastermind Alliance one of the most powerful tools for success, and also one of the least understood. He defines it like this. A mastermind is the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. In simple terms, it's not just teamwork. It's a strategic alliance where each person's strengths amplify the others. Why it's not just networking. Most people think a mastermind is just having friends or knowing people. But that's not it. Networking can be casual, swapping business cards at an event. A mastermind alliance is intentional. You're deliberately connecting with people whose skills, knowledge, and perspectives fill the gaps in your own, and you're doing the same for them. The power of the collective mind. Hill believed, and modern science agrees, that when two or more minds work in true harmony toward the same goal, something extra is created, a third mind. This third mind isn't mystical, it's the synergy of ideas, creativity, and problem-solving that happens when people collaborate effectively. You think of solutions you never would have considered on your own. Historical example, Andrew Carnegie. Hill's own work began because of a mastermind. Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men of his time, credited his success to his personal board of trusted advisors, each an expert in their own field. Carnegie wasn't the best steelworker, marketer, or engineer. But he surrounded himself with people who were, and together, they built an empire. Carnegie told Hill, "No man can become a great power in business without having others to help him." Modern examples. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Jobs had vision, marketing genius, and a sense for design. Wozniak had deep technical expertise. Alone, neither would have built Apple into what it became. Together, they changed personal computing forever. Sergey Brin and Larry Page. Brin brought mathematical brilliance. Page brought a relentless focus on product and business. Their alliance became Google. Oprah Winfrey and her core production team. She often credits her success to the people behind the scenes who shaped the brand, negotiated deals, and built the media empire with her. How to build your own mastermind alliance. You don't have to be a billionaire to start one. In fact, some of the most effective masterminds are small, tight-knit groups. Here's how Hill suggests approaching it. Choose people with complementary skills. If you're great at creative ideas but weak on execution, find someone who's an operations wizard. If you're strong in sales but weak in product design, bring in someone who excels at building. Share a definite goal. A mastermind falls apart when members have conflicting purposes. Everyone needs to be working toward a shared vision or aligned individual goals. Meet regularly. Weekly, Bi-weekly or monthly, consistency keeps momentum and trust. Operate in harmony. Ego clashes kill masterminds fast. Hill emphasizes harmony as the most important ingredient. What you gain from a mastermind. Accountability. You're less likely to procrastinate when others are expecting progress. Expanded resources, skills, knowledge, and even connections multiply. New perspectives. Someone else's insight can solve a problem you've been stuck on for months. Confidence. Being part of a high-caliber group elevates your own expectations of yourself. Avoiding the wrong mastermind. One caution. Hill warns that a mastermind can work in reverse if you align with the wrong people. If your alliance is with people who lack integrity, ambition, or vision, you'll be pulled down instead of lifted up. So choose carefully. Surround yourself with people who raise your standards, not lower them. A quick action step. If you don't have a mastermind yet, here's something you can do this month. Make a list of 3 to 5 people you admire for their skills, values, or results. Invite them to meet, even virtually, once or twice a month to share goals, challenges, and solutions. Keep it structured, time limits, clear agendas, action items. Do this, and within a year, you'll have more momentum, more ideas, and more confidence than you ever would have working alone. So far, you've got burning desire to fuel you, faith to make you believe it's possible, specialized knowledge to give you the tools, and now, Mastermind Alliance to multiply your power through the right people. Next, we move to principle number 5, persistence, the glue that holds everything together when the journey gets tough. And trust me, without persistence, everything else collapses. Principle number 5, persistence. Napoleon Hill describes persistence as the sustained effort required to induce faith, transform plans into action, and ultimately turn dreams into reality. He says, persistence is to the character of man what carbon is to steel. In other words, persistence hardens you, strengthens you, and makes you unbreakable in pursuit of your goal. Why persistence is the turning point? Think about it. Every great idea, no matter how brilliant, will face obstacles. The people who win aren't necessarily the smartest, the richest, or the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to stop. Most people quit after the first failure. A smaller group pushes through a second or third setback. But the rare ones, the truly persistent, keep going until the goal is achieved. The psychology of quitting. When things get tough, our brains offer us an easy out. Maybe this isn't meant to be. Maybe I should try something else. That voice feels logical, but often it's just fear dressed up as reason. He'll believe that persistence was largely a matter of willpower and habit, and that anyone could develop it. You're not born persistent, you train yourself to be. Real-world examples of persistence. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before inventing a working light bulb. His famous quote, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Colonel Sanders, at age 65, with only a social security check and a chicken recipe, he was rejected over 1,000 times before finding a restaurant willing to partner with him. Today, KFC is a global brand. J.K. Rowling, rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter was accepted. Imagine if she had stopped at rejection number 11. Why persistence works. Persistence doesn't just look good, it changes the odds in your favor. Here's why. You outlast the competition. Many people with great potential quit early. If you simply stay in the game longer, you're already ahead. You learn and adapt. Every setback teaches you something you can apply next time. You build credibility. People trust and invest in those who demonstrate commitment over time. The 4 steps to developing persistence. Hill outlines a simple process for building persistence as a habit. A definite purpose. Without a clear goal, persistence fades fast. You need a reason so strong that quitting feels worse than continuing. A burning desire. Desire fuels action. If you really want something, you'll endure far more to get it. A definite plan. Wandering aimlessly drains energy. A concrete plan gives you direction and small wins to keep you moving. A positive mental attitude. Negativity kills persistence. Surround yourself with uplifting influences, books, mentors, mastermind partners to keep your mindset strong. Persistence and the mastermind. Here's where principle number 4 connects. A mastermind alliance can dramatically strengthen your persistence. When you feel like quitting, your group can give you perspective, encouragement, and accountability. Sometimes, just knowing someone is watching your progress keeps you moving forward. The danger of almost. Hill warns about the people who stop one step away from success. History is full of these moments. The prospector who gave up digging just feet away from a gold vein. The entrepreneur who shut down the business right before a big breakthrough. We'll never know how many people were right there and didn't realize it. A quick action challenge. To build persistence starting now. Pick one goal you've been procrastinating on or struggling to finish. Break it into the smallest possible daily action. Something so easy you can't say no. Commit to doing it for the next 30 days without fail. By the end, you'll notice something. Persistence gets easier the more you practice it. It becomes part of your identity. Final thought. You now have the 5 foundational principles. Burning desire, the fuel. Faith, the belief. Specialized knowledge, the tools. Mastermind alliance, the team. Persistence, the endurance. Remember, it's not the people who start fast that win. It's the ones who refuse to stop, no matter how long it takes. Or as Hill put it, a quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. Common mistakes when applying these principles. Even with powerful ideas like burning desire, faith, specialized knowledge, mastermind alliance, and persistence, many people still fail to get results. Why? Because they unknowingly sabotage themselves. Let's break down the most common mistakes, so you can avoid them. 1. Mistaking wishing for desire. Napoleon Hill is clear. A wish is weak, but a burning desire is unstoppable. Many people say they want success, but their actions prove otherwise. Mistake thinking, "It would be nice to have this," is enough. Fix, tie your goal to a deep emotional reason. Something so strong that giving up feels impossible. 2. Having faith. Only when it's easy. Faith is simple when things are going well. But the true test is holding belief when everything falls apart. Mistake. Losing confidence after the first failure or criticism. Fix. Use visualization and affirmations daily, especially in hard times, to keep your mind fixed on the outcome, not the obstacles. 3. Collecting knowledge but never using it. Specialized knowledge is only powerful when applied. Some people endlessly read, take courses, and attend seminars, but never take action. Mistake. Confusing learning with progress. Fix. Every time you gain new information, immediately put it into practice, even in a small way. 4. Treating the mastermind as a social club. A true mastermind alliance is about mutual growth, not casual hangouts. If your group is just chatting without accountability, it's not a mastermind, it's a coffee break. Mistake. Choosing friends over high-level thinkers who challenge you. Fix. Build a group of committed, ambitious people. Meet with a purpose, track progress, and hold each other responsible. 5. Confusing activity with persistence. Persistence isn't just staying busy, it's consistent, focused action toward a specific goal. Many people spin their wheels on the wrong tasks for years. Mistake. Working hard but without direction. Fix. Align every action with your definite purpose. Ask yourself daily, is this moving me closer to my goal? 6. Quitting too early. Hill warns that many people stop just before success. Sometimes, the breakthrough is only one step away. Mistake. Giving up because results aren't immediate. Fix. Decide in advance that you will keep going until, not if, you succeed. 7. Ignoring the mental game. All 5 principles are mental first, physical second. Without a strong mindset, strategies fall apart. Mistake. Focusing only on tactics without working on belief, attitude, and resilience. Fix. Spend as much time strengthening your mindset as you do on building your skills. Final thought. The principles work, but only when applied with discipline, self-awareness, and consistency. If you treat them like checkboxes, you'll get surface-level results. But if you truly live them, they'll change your life. Remember, it's not just about knowing these principles. It's about making them part of who you are. Conclusion. So, there you have it. The 5 timeless principles from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Burning desire, faith and visualization, specialized knowledge, mastermind alliance, and persistence. These aren't just abstract ideas or nice-to-know tips. They're a practical blueprint for transforming your mindset and your life. Remember, success isn't reserved for the lucky or the gifted. It's built by those who choose to think differently, believe deeply, learn continuously, surround themselves with the right people, and never quit, no matter how tough the road gets. But here's the secret. It only works if you take action. If you watch this and say, "That's interesting," but don't change your daily habits, nothing will change. So today, I challenge you to pick one principle, just one, and commit to applying it starting right now. Write down your burning desire. Start a daily visualization practice. Learn one skill deeply. Reach out to someone who can challenge you. Or make a promise to yourself. No matter what, you will persist for 30 days. Small steps build momentum, and momentum builds results. If you found value in this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more mindset and success strategies, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And let me know in the comments, which of these 5 principles will you focus on first? Remember, your millionaire mindset is waiting to be activated. It starts with one decision, right here, right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.